See us how it's 9 o'clock. We'll start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, approval of the agenda. First off, we got one correction on consent agenda number 2. It's October 31st. The retirement date, not November 1st. The other one I have a question about too is we're having a public hearing today about making the auditor, treasurer, recorder positions appointed. And action item number 1 is to consider a resolution to do just that. I think we should probably wait and do that at another date, you know, just to not give the impression that,
It's a done deal,
yeah.
because it's not.
I mean, we've had these discussions before. So, I mean, we could do it, we could even have another public hearing on it. I fear that people haven't heard about this or don't pay attention. And so I don't know what you guys just thought, if we could just pull that and do it at another meeting. If you're okay with that,
Makes sense.
you guys okay with that?
Gonna have the public hearing in today.
We'll have the public hearing. Yep.
I guess that's fine. Get more info.
Yeah, otherwise there's a little time to really have public fully understand
There
that.
ain't no set date we gotta have this done by, is there?
What's that?
There ain't no set date we gotta have.
No,
this-
we don't have, no. It has been advertised as such,
I still
so.
think we should go forward with the public meeting, and then if we have to have another one before we make a decision, so be it.
Yeah.
But let's do it right.
Yep.
More information rather than less is better.
Yep. Well, we'll pull, number 1 off then for today. We'll move forward. Is there anything else that? Any,
Yeah, let's, can we put number 3 down to action items?
number,
3 on the consent agenda?
yeah, I guess we could do that. Wanna move number 3 to, we'll put it at, how about if we just put that in place of a number 1 here? Is that okay?
Sounds good to me.
Or no?
Let's make it number 11. You can still discuss it first.
All right, that's fine.
That way I can write in the minutes that 1 was actually tabled and it's not.
That's fine,
Okay.
that's fine, that's fine.
It's replaced. Yeah,
Okay,
whatever works.
any other changes? If not, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So
Motion to approve with changes.
Second,
second,
any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Approve previous minutes from the board meeting of August 26th. Is there any additions or corrections to those?
One correction on the, I think it's like paragraph 3 of approving the minutes. You were listed as the one absent, which was me on the 19th meeting.
As what?
Oh, it's the
August
26th.
19th, yeah, but it's 26 minutes,
Oh, sure.
but it was from the meeting of the 19th.
and you were gone.
I was the one that was gone, not you.
Right, okay, yep.
So it shouldn't say Johnson, it should say Schultz. Abstained.
Got it. Sorry.
Yep. Any other corrections? Not, is there a motion to approve the minutes with those corrections?
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, public comment. Now is the time for anybody that wants to come forward with a public comment. state your name and where you're from.
Really?
Bob Burns, 1106 Courtney Drive, Caledonia, Minnesota.
Nice.
The only thing I want to comment on, I've been reading some of the people coming in and talking about rifles in Houston County. I, for one, am not in favor of rifles. Shotguns being as accurate as they are now with the new rifled barrels and the Sabot slugs are good for maybe up to 200 yards. There's not that many places that you need a rifle in Houston County, and there's a lot of people that live in the country, a lot of people in town. I don't think we need rifle bullets. It's different up north where it's wide open spaces. It's a little different down here. I, for one, am not in favor of rifles. Second thing, I'll be back next week and give you a report on SEMCAC, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Any other public comment? If not, we'll proceed to our appointments of we're having a public hearing pursuant to Minnesota Statute 375A.1205 subdivision 1. Purpose of this hearing is to consider making the position of auditor, treasurer, recorder positions appointed. Is there a motion to go into a special meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right. We have nobody here from the public that would like to comment on our proposal. Brent, would you just want to give us an overview of?
What that process looks like?
Yeah.
So that process right now, we have two interim positions. One is the recorder, one's the auditor treasurer. Those positions were filled in an interim basis based on those elected officials that had left. And so those appointments are considered vacant, and you have those interim appointed positions. The county does have the ability to make those from elected to appointed through state statute. Many counties have done this. I'd probably say it's about a 50-50 split throughout the state of Minnesota, of some that have elected opposed to some that have appointed. There are obviously benefits to both ways. If you were to go through with this, you would need a 80% majority vote to have that referendum. And then what that would do would start a 30-day window where the public, if they decided that they did not want that position to be appointed, 10% of the registered voters of Houston County would have to sign a petition that would essentially stop that action. And then it would come back to the board. But if you were to vote on that referendum and the resolution, and after that 30-day window, if nobody appealed it, then it would, those positions just would change by law within the county that they are appointed instead of elected. And then that time they would essentially be appointed department heads that would be appointed through the board.
What about the
The current interims would fulfill their term that they were appointed to.
Yeah, but the positions itself would be, but like the interims right now are interim to fill that spot to.
to fulfill the term
Correct,
of
yeah,
what that they're filling in, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Because they're up in December 31st, 2026, right?
Correct, yeah.
First Monday in January.
Yeah, correct, I stand corrected on that.
So those interim positions could fill that to the end of that term. But this would just basically have your intentions that when those positions come due, that you're gonna appoint them instead of have them up for an election.
Okay. Okay,
Any other questions?
okay. Thanks, Brent.
Yep.
Any other comment? Hearing none, is there a motion to come out of public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Public hearing is closed. All right, moving on to consent agenda. We have two items on the consent agenda. One is change of employment status from Michelle Burt to probationary to regular. And also is to accept the resignation and retirement of Carolyn Olson, social worker, effective October 31st. And we want to thank her for 43 years of service.
Nice job. 43 years. Thank you.
Yep, that's pretty impressive. So,
Make a motion to approve.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right, we'll move on to action items. We'll start with number 2, consider approving resolution number 25-30 for aquatic invasive species prevention aid for Root River. This is something we do all the time, so nobody from Soil and Water is here today, so
Motion to approve.
is there a second?
Second.
Go ahead.
Any further discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right, number 3, consider accepting the State Commission Grant Minnesota number 1061019 for airport crack filling grant and adapting resolution 2525 for $40,000 with $38,000 federal funds.
Yeah, so this is the state companion grant. So we've received a federal grant for the crack filling. This is the state grant, which is for $1,013.50. So this is 2.5% of the crack fill contract. So this work was completed in 2024. It's just how the FAA and state companion grants go, is that you ultimately let them complete the project before they get the grant for it. So recommend approving so we can get reimbursed by this $1,013.50 by MnDOT Aeronautics.
I'll make a motion to go ahead.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Number 4, consider accepting the state companion grant Minnesota agreement for a T-hanger project in the amount of $29,150.79.
Yeah, so this is the last of the grants for the T-hanger project. So we have a couple different FAA grants, and then we have a state companion grant that match the AIG funds, and this is for matching the AAP funds. So as Commissioner Johnson said, this grant amount is $29,150.79.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Number 5, consider adopting resolution number 25-28, final acceptance of crack filling contract with Farner Asphalt Sealers. Total cost was $114,345.
Yep, so the original contract for this project was $118,250. So we're certified $114,300.45. So what we usually do is we try to cut the contract off right under at or below the contracted quantity. So this is at 96.66% of the original bid.
Great. It's always good at less.
4,000 less.
Yeah.
Everything was satisfactory.
Did a good job.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Number 6, consider reviewing the City of La Crescent's permit application for National Gravel Bike Race and consider permit conditions prior to approval.
Yep, so the city of La Crescent has submitted an application to the county for the 2025 National Gravel Bike Race, USA Cycling Gravel National Championships. So I do say that the city of La Crescent is here today, but the special event permits usually do not come to the county board, but this event is much different in scope and magnitude than a typical special event permit. Usually they're for a parade just within a community, or maybe they shut down a roadway for a short time for some event. So in this case, it impacts a lot more county highways than a typical event, and it's outside city limits, so this 55-mile-an-hour speed limits instead of 30. So the special event, there's usually 14 special event permit conditions. Some of it is that they need to provide and defend and indemnify Houston County if there's any issues for I guess any legal issues that arise throughout that. They must serve a public interest. They have a definitive area that is being impacted. In this case, the roadways are not going to be shut down. The bicyclists are following the rules of the road for all of them except for the elite crew, which is going to have a pilot car in front of them and at the back. And then for those cyclists that fall off that lead pack, they're gonna need to start following the rules of the road as soon as they're outside that controlled limit. Been working with Sheriff Swedberg on making sure that everything is satisfactory, both from my side on the traffic control and himself for traffic control, make sure they have enough volunteers or people lined up to handle everything that's within the plan. At this point, I believe that La Crescent's still looking for additional volunteers for help. I'm not sure if you guys have had a chance to review the special conditions, to see if you have any comments, any additional conditions that we want to add to this. I don't know if you can.
On the
put them up
14,
screen.
are you talking about?
Yes, yep, on those 14
So is
conditions.
the ones that are highlighted, is that what you're talking?
Any of them, so we can cross off any of these, we can add additional ones. It is common when we do different permits to say that, Houston County is not gonna provide something, we're gonna provide something. We require additional measures due to the complexity of the event. The highlighted items were ones that I really wanted to highlight and point out to the city of La Crescent on. These are issues that we need to make sure they get addressed on their end, so that's why they were highlighted. The one condition is the cost of, just trying to see where that is. I believe that, condition number 10, local authorities will be responsible for all costs of labor involved for the traffic detour and traffic control operations. I think we want to change that instead of saying local authorities to the permittee or city of La Crescent, probably want to call it permittee. So I recommend making that change on that. But there's been different discussion with the board and the routes, and I know that the city's been working with the townships trying to get approvals on their end. It's been brought up here previously that there were some issues within Mayville that was brought up at the last board meeting. I've been heard that the city's been working with Mayville trying to get those issues resolved and hopefully still go along those roadways. If not, the city is working on an alternative route that'll kind of bypass the Mayville Township roads, some or all of them. So.
I can go grab my computer if you want there. It's up to you guys.
What's that?
Yeah, do you want the conditions put up on the screen, or do you have copies of that?
That'd be good. seeing how the city is here, maybe you guys would like to come up forward and give us an update of your plans here? Introduce yourselves and.
Sure. I'm Mike Pellinger, Mayor of the City of La Crescent. Just as a little background, this isn't the average bicycle race. This is USA Cycling. They're the governing board for competitive cycling in the United States. So they operate 2,500 of these races throughout the United States a year. There's 80,000 competitive cyclists that are members of the association. There are 3 other events that'll be held in 2 in Minnesota and 1 in Wisconsin, yet this fall. There's the people that'll be competing in this are trying to qualify for the Olympics and other championships, and these are just steps along the way where they earn accreditation towards competing in the other events. So Tyler, you could probably walk through what we've done as far as our flagging and covering the major intersections.
Thank you. Tyler Benish, Public Works Director for the City of La Crescent. So along the traffic control plan, we have identified 17 spots that would require flaggers for crossing traffic for the 2 protected bubbles. And the 2 protected bubbles are going to be that elite group of men and women that take off. They're going to have a lead squad for each one, a motorcycle moto as part of the group, as well as a official in the follow car. Like Brian said earlier, as soon as somebody is deemed not competitive anymore, they fall back 10 or 20 seconds and not going to catch up, they then defer to rules of the road as soon as that official passes them, and they are required to follow all the rules of the road. What I handed out just briefly as a technical guide, this will go to every racer, and it's available online. And if you look at page 8, Article 16, it says road center line. And in there, it's outlined that anybody that is not in that lead pack follows rules of the road, and this is not a full closure of any road. This is a rolling enclosure. As soon as they pass through in, I don't know, in a minute of the time, it'll be back open for traffic.
But the elite pack doesn't follow the rules.
They are going to be on the right-hand side only. They will not be a full double lane closure as they're going. It will be only on the right-hand side. But the only time that there'll be I'm gonna call a closure is if they're crossing, making a left-hand turn onto a road. We will have a flagger to stop that traffic ahead. Like I say, we had identified 17 locations in our traffic control plan to have those flaggers. We have professional flaggers from the cities, not under contract yet, but working through that, and they're gonna rotate. 8 flaggers will rotate to those 17 locations, and the last one is 6 and 25 in town, and that's gonna be a longer station, and we'll station a police officer or a reserve there, because that's gonna be a higher impact to the traffic at that place, or at that location.
So you're contracting for the flagging?
For the flagging, yep.
You haven't secured that yet?
We just gotta get the pricing figured out. They've committed, we just gotta figure out that pricing and what that is. Originally, we were at 10, and then we found a way to reduce it to 8 to try and reduce that cost, so.
When's this race?
September 20th.
Okay.
So like, you got this pack of, how many guys? Let's just go with the guys.
So right now,
In your elite.
right now, the total registered number is 629. The women elite is 23, the men elite is 40.
Okay, so you got 40 elite riders,
Correct.
and you're gonna have a squad in front of them,
Yep,
and you're saying they're gonna stay to the right, so this is a race.
yep.
So I'm gonna pass this group. So I come out and I'm gonna pass 12 people, and I go on the left side of the road. Are they out of bounds? Are they gonna get a rules infraction? I mean, what?
Who, like if a bike,
Yeah.
if a biker
Say they're gonna
passes,
stay to the right, who's to stop them from, they're trying to win a race. I mean, these guys are athletes. They're
Yep.
trying to win a race. Is the center yellow line gonna stop them from?
It is in here that it states that if you cross that for overtaking a vehicle or anything like that, it's an infraction.
It's the same thing on that Article 16, crossing the center line. Jeremiah Barish, by the way, with the Explore Lacrosse. The crossing the center line, whether for overtaking or for any other reason, is prohibited, and there's penalties for violation, and includes disqualification and immediate withdrawal from the race.
Warning first.
Warning first, yes.
Do they lose their position?
They can, I think it's the second offense is time penalty can be applied anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes added to their time, and then third infraction, they're disqualified.
And the way it was explained to us from the race director last year in Geary, Nebraska, halfway through the race, I think the protected bubble was down to about 5. People fall off the back, can't keep up. Those first couple climbs really separate the people, and then after that point, it's more minimal. Going through Hoka and taking a left down Butterfield, there'll probably be 40 people in a race, but it's a 110-mile race, and I don't think they're gonna win it in the first 10 miles. You can hurt yourself by wrecking if you're trying to do something like that. I think when that comes to the Chicken Ridge area is probably when that race is gonna be won or lost towards the end.
That elite group, that's the ones that'll have the pilot car in the front and the back. So what happens when they're on Butterfield Valley and they meet the farmer pulling out? Does the pilot car, what's their duty?
So the pilot car, the moto official and the race official in the back have point-to-point communication on walkie-talkie. And if our pilot car encounters that, if they have to pull all the way off to the side of the road and suspend the race for a little bit, they'll communicate that, and that has happened before in races. So that is part of it, and, you know, our pilot cars are gonna be police officers. So they're gonna be experienced with dealing with the
So
situation.
they'll stop the race, not the obstruction?
Correct. We can't control an obstruction, we can control the race. So we stop the race instead of trying to stop the farmer. And if it's all a neutral stop, it's fair and equal for that group, so.
That makes sense.
So as far as the traffic plan, like I say, 17 locations on the county highway, professional flaggers at 16 of them. One of them is gonna be an extended period. We'll have a police officer or police reserve at that location at South 7th or County 25 and County 6.
So if we have to hire extra cops or have some overtime, does the race company pick up some of that tab?
Yep, we will. I think it was communicated to us that the county sheriff's department doesn't have the staffing available. The city has committed to kind of being the lead agency of that lead out and kind of the traffic control portions in town.
Good, no problem. I was just asking.
Yep, nope.
So your volunteers, last time I looked on your website, you're way behind on getting volunteers for this.
Well, we are contracted for many of the services, so we're contracted with Amplify Health for athletic trainers along the route, and we're working with both Tri-State Ambulance and Caledonia Ambulance for ambulance support on the trail. Most of the volunteers are going to be needed in the city for the finish line. These are elite, so they travel with large groups, so we think that we'll have quite a few people in the city during the race on race day. As far as the routes along, the stops along the route, we have those covered right now, and those will be manned by either contract employees or volunteers.
And part of it is, the biggest lacking piece is course marshals, just to say, hey, you gotta turn right here. But the USA Cycling does encourage the riders to download There's an app that you can download on your phone that you request service, Article 22 athlete tracking, on page 9. That'll give turn-by-turn directions to the riders as well as have their ability to request aid, whether it's medical or neutral support for repairs. So that can be done through that app, and that will be sent to the fire station in La Crescent. Is gonna be what the command, I'm gonna call it the command post, is gonna be staffed by Tri-State or Amplify people in there to dispatch that out.
So Mayville Township, I've been told, are not gonna allow you to use their township road. Have you,
Still working with them.
if that, go ahead.
There was an instance of a rider that had headphones in and was looking down at his phone and veered in across the center line, and the tractor had to go in the ditch. I think they had a haying equipment on. I don't know what it was. I think that was the big factor. In the race, that's a rider. We can't control what people are doing outside of this ride. This is
Practice
we're just,
rider.
yep. We're purely specifically here for this and this only. No headphones are allowed. They do have turns on their phone to direct them where to go, but there's no headphones. There are with each group, there is a moto official that monitors that. And like I say, that's the penalty portion of it. So working with them, hoping we can get through there.
The routes are also significantly signed along the course during the race itself. So telling you where the turns are so you don't have to be looking down or anything like that.
See, here's the deal, and this is why people are upset, is we should have had this conversations a long time ago. In fact, I think I've mentioned it to you, Tyler, that you should be talking to the townships about this over a year ago. And nobody knew nothing about it. Then all of a sudden, they watch TV and here there's this great big gravel cup race coming to La Crescent. And they're promoting it as their special event for their Apple Fest weekend. But there's been no communications with the townships as far as getting permission from the townships and the counties. And now they have a bad taste in their mouth because lack of communication. And that's why you're getting all these questions and pushback now. I mean, what do you guys say to that? I mean,
We actually started working on this several years ago, and so we weren't chosen 2 years ago. It was given to another community. So this has been an ongoing communication with USA Cycling to try to get this event in our area. And so it was premature. We didn't know we were going to get it until later on, and then we didn't have the routes put together. But this area has been looked at and promoted by the state of Minnesota Department of Tourism also. And so we apologize for that. And it would have been great to come out a year ago, but we didn't know we were going to be qualifying a year ago for the race.
And Eric, to that point, when you and I had talked, we anticipated going to Houston. That, this doesn't matter. We anticipated going to Houston. The gravel percentage wasn't enough, so then it did get changed all to the south.
Yeah.
So we had to engage a new set of townships. To your point, we have 9 townships out of 10 that are in agreement with this. We've got them insured through the race, through USA Cycling. So, I mean, we have one, I'm not gonna say, I shouldn't say holdout, but we have one township that's not agreeable. They were somewhat agreeable until that incident, excuse me. And so we're working through that with them right now.
so if you can't come to agreement, then you're gonna change the route?
We'll probably minimize the impact in Mayville. There's one road that's right on their edge of their township that we'll continue to communicate with them on. Part of it is they don't have a permit application that we can fill out and go to a public meeting and get. So if we can't apply for something, I don't know the ramifications of them having the denial to do that. So can they put a piece of machinery across the road? Of course they can. We're trying to avoid that. We're trying to be the best neighbors that we can be and engage that. And one of their concerns was there's machinery on the roads this time of year, and we said, if you want machinery signs along the route to watch out for, we'll Explore La Crosse will pay for the signs to put them up, and so cyclists are aware of that. So we're continuing to engage and working through that.
I guess that kind of goes with the question that I had earlier, then. And that's what your pilot car would be looking for.
That's, yep. And the pilot car would be, about 30 seconds out in front or so, depending on how much gravel dust they're kicking up, conditions, visibility, stuff like that. So if they engage in or encounter that, then yeah, that's an.
Some of them roads are pretty dry and dusty, so
That's-
the
yep.
pilot car might need to be a little bit further. Just for
Yeah,
the
so
race.
that's what the pilot cars will be instructed to look for, is that type of item.
Have you guys obtained all other approvals from other agencies or the state at this point?
MnDOT has given us preliminary approval.
Okay,
They're just doing their final review.
okay.
So they're handling the coverage for the state roads, right? State patrol and all that, or?
We have not, we don't have a commitment from them, but we have the city police reserves that would handle that if necessary. But yeah.
Cutting her kind of close here.
I don't think that we'd have them bring anybody in off of like overtime or anything if they have a trooper available and we can get the commitment from them. But we have the reserves to do it, and that's where that's our fallback plan, is that. So as far as the permit goes, we've gotten Brian the traffic control plan. The police coverage will be on the city, and I think the biggest area is the Hoka and La Crescent areas, and La Crescent Police Department will be doing that. Number 11, the sponsor agrees to assume entire responsibility. I believe you guys have received the insurance paperwork for the county?
I have not seen it.
You've not seen it? Okay, I'll get you that. It's an email.
So they're all covered under your insurance?
USA Cycling carries the insurance for the race, so it's covered under that, yes.
Brian.
That relates to 13 as well. And then Houston County indemnify. Yeah, so I think we have all those. I guess if we can continue to work with Sheriff Swedberg and County Engineer and continue to work on that. If you guys have any further questions for us, or.
So number 7 on the regulations here, the adequate police coverage of the closure and direction of the detour traffic is available. Coordinating with the local police and highway patrol is required for establishing this policy requirement. And you haven't got final.
Everything's been sent to the State Patrol, and they haven't responded back to us officially what they're going to give us for support. But everything's been submitted as required by our chief of police.
And for the detour, it's just the one in La Crescent. The rest of them would just be flaggers, so temporary stops.
There is no further closure of any roads.
Are you guys aware of any instances last year in Nebraska or any type of situations where they've had to dig deep on some of these issues in the agreement as far as accidents or property damage or something like that? Has anything been brought up before? We just kind of need to be aware of.
I'm not aware of that. I think if you have an opportunity to look at the USA Cycling's highly regarded organization, they are the qualifier for the Olympics. Well regarded in the state of Minnesota. They hold a number of other races in the state of Minnesota. The deputy commissioner who attended the press conference spoke very highly of them, and they're actually one of the promoters of this event in Minnesota. They have a commitment to this. Can you just touch on that?
The campaign?
Yes.
Yeah, so Explore Minnesota is utilizing, highlighting the entirety of Minnesota as a cycling destination, specifically gravel due to all the gravel roads, and then using the national championship almost as a springboard. The gravel riding is so great around here in Minnesota. Even USA Cycling is using it as their national championship. So it's a very, very highly regarded, it's literally the top echelon of racing, right? So additionally, kind of to answer your question a little bit too, in working with Medalist, who is the race director, USA Cycling owns the event. Medalist is the actual race director and conducts the entirety of the race. Last year in Gering, Nebraska, there were only a handful of crashes, nothing severe. I'm not saying that can't happen. Of course, every race is different. But there are also laws in here, and in the tech guide, there's a lot more information. I won't go through all of it. You can look at that whenever you guys want or have the time. But it also talks about, no public urination other than at the aid stations, things like that. They can't do any of that kind of thing. They can't throw trash out except for in the green zones, which are the aid stations, which are designated on the map. So they can't do any of those things, and it's the USA Cycling looks at this as we want to leave it better than we found it, and to use this and showcase it and continue to bring a showcase and a highlight to your area as a gravel destination or as a cycling destination for this event or whatever it might be. And then, again, leave it better than we found it, because they want to be able to continue to come back. They want to also work with all the parties involved and be a great partner to leave a great taste in all of our mouths, and again, work far into the future. They don't want to be the one and done, and they don't like us and we don't like them, because that's not how we do business.
And there's a 2-year commitment, right?
There is,
It's gonna
yeah.
be held next year as well,
Correct.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it'll be in La Crescent too?
Correct. Yep.
Correct.
So, it was originally proposed it was gonna be a Houston La Crescent thing. And now it's just a La Crescent thing. And, people always ask me, well, what gravel roads does La Crescent have? La Crescent Township doesn't even have any gravel roads.
So what
Houston has quite a few.
So what happened is this weekend, there's also another race in Winona County, and there's an overlap into the Houston area. And so they can't interfere with each other. And so there was a move made after the fact, because we told them in La Crescent that we wanted to have it on the same weekend as Applefest, because we didn't know if we could have 2 events in the same year that would acquire the same amount of people. So that's why we combined the 2. So that's really what happened with the connection in Houston, is that Winona has Ride the Bluffs going on the same weekend, and they're coming down into Houston. And that's where that Houston connection changed. And that's what brought everything this way instead of towards Houston. So maybe in the future, the race may change, but not for the next 2 years. They're locked in on this because of the amount of work that they put in on their end to put this together.
Additionally, the route was changed because of one of the roads that, I don't remember, it was Bush Valley or Burns Valley or one of those, got chip sealed. And our first section of gravel, when we went north up Apple Blossom, then came down, the first section of gravel was blacktopped. And so that threw a pretty big wrench into.
Crescent Township.
Yes, it threw a pretty big wrench into it. So we had to look at alternative routes, and to maximize the gravel to get the percentage that USA Cycling needed, this is the best route that they could come up with. We did everything in our powers to continue to work to go through Houston, because they were great in our site visit, but they didn't have to commit anything or do anything. There were no services from their end rendered or anything. But we certainly are still highlighting them through their camping and different businesses that are on the websites, and pre-rides and things, but unfortunately, it just didn't work on the route this year. Not to say that couldn't change next year. It'll still start in the La Crescent area, to be in conjunction with Apple Fest.
So are you highlighting businesses in Houston County for this?
Yeah,
Restaurants, hotels?
First of all, for us, we're a member organization, so any businesses that are members, which there are some in in Houston, they're also listed on our website. The gravel cycling landing page on our website has links to camping and the townships that are all around in southeastern Minnesota, and it does include Houston. And in the tech guide on the back page, you'll see that Houston is still highlighted. Their logos for Houston and Houston Chamber are still highly visible, even though we're not utilizing them. It was not because we didn't want to go through Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is this a rain or shine, weather, whatever?
Yep, there's a severe weather policy in there. There'll be a group, so this is still a draft, this isn't final. There's a couple corrections that I've already seen today that need to be made. So yeah, there's a severe weather policy of a group that'll meet, discuss it, and we'd like to do it as much in advance as possible beforehand. And I believe Mark Olson has been in contact with National Weather Service about a forecast for that, so.
Sounds like some of the riders like a little rain to keep the dust down.
Little mist wouldn't be too bad Saturday morning.
I think if you have a chance to look at the guide, you'll see the age categories, and most of the elite riders are in that 40 to 60 year old category. So these are seasoned riders that are participating. The interesting thing is, and it was pointed out by the state of Minnesota, is that the youth rider last year is from Minnesota, and so they anticipate a large turnout for the youth component because of some history there.
Where do the fans, where do they congregate then? Do they follow some of the racers through the race, or?
They don't follow the race. They'll congregate in La Crescent.
Like Eitzen, would they be a bunch down there?
We have a gentleman that's on our organizing committee that's putting together a viewing areas for spectators. The best spot for spectators is on an uphill climb, because then they're going slower past them. You get pictures, you can get whatever or whatnot. And so he's putting together spectator locations and how to get to those without impacting the race. So you're not on the race course or minimize your time on the race course.
You could have a lot more people out there on these certain spots than just the riders.
Could, but I think they're gonna be in kind of a, if there's a wide shoulder, we're not gonna put people on minimum maintenance roads to take pictures or to come and spectate. We don't want that, cause that creates a big bottleneck, so.
The other races, have they had people that follow them, like spectators or?
Not
Public people or?
Not follow, but I think they have had some spectators. I mean, we anticipate they're gonna, we got 629 riders signed up. We expect probably 1,000 people showing up, cause you're gonna bring your significant other, kids.
Right.
That's part of the conjunction with Apple Fest, is that there's a carnival. Families will come, stay, spend some dollars locally. So if you see anything, I know that there's a road name change in here. Peyton Road is wrong. So if you got any changes in here that you see, let us know. We'll do our best to get them updated. Peyton is Jefferson.
So Brian, number 10, you want to change that to permittee? I think that should be done.
Yeah, so now I'll continue to work with Sheriff Swedberg on the law enforcement side. Find out before I issue this permit. Try to get a map of the spectator locations, we know what to expect. I don't know if we're gonna need to do any additional operations to get it for them, but make sure that our roads look good, you know, for going to YouTube, there's videos out from horse races. We wanna make sure we have all our county roads looking good for that race.
And do you usually sweep the intersections, you know, that are paved? If there's gravel on there?
There's any fast turned in the intersection that's paved, we do sweep my times. Events, I don't know that we have a whole lot because there's gravel roadways.
I'm just talking about the approaches to Blacktop. There's gonna be minimal probably, but there's gonna be some.
A few locations where
Cause you're coming down Chicken Ridge, right? Or you're going up?
Up.
Okay. Well, keep working with Brian and the other Brian, Sheriff Swedberg. You guys got any more questions?
So we're saying on the permit, the applicant or the sponsor is responsible? Us on number 10. The rest of these read the sponsor.
this could do it either. In this case, the applicant is the
City.
sponsor, I believe. City of La Crescent is the, so.
Yeah, just not to confuse with the registrant or anything.
So the ultimate authority is the city of La Crescent, right?
So Explore Lacrosse has been, I think you guys are the,
Yeah, as stated last time, it is a true partnership between Explore Lacrosse, the Convention Visitors Bureau, which is a destination marketing organization of the entire region, including La Crescent, Minnesota, and the city of La Crescent to host the event. This application was through the city, not through Explore Lacrosse. Again, we kind of disseminated responsibilities and working together because there's a lot of them, as you can imagine, for putting on a race this size.
And what's Larry Kirsch's role in, he's been here.
Larry works for us at the city of La Crescent, and we asked him to get involved because he's a cyclist and participates in a lot of these, not this level of racing, but more involved in cycling than some of us other people are.
a lot more.
Than any of us.
So I think he's involved in that Old National Gravel Cup race.
Old fashioned.
Old fashioned,
I'm
the
sorry.
old fashioned.
I don't
I'm
know.
thinking
I don't know that he is involved with that.
He's riding in it. I know he's
Yeah.
riding. Yeah, he's
As a
riding.
writer.
Yeah.
But just not planning.
Well, we just gotta get the word out that, you know, these type of events are, you know, it's probably a great thing, but just that we need to have local communication with the townships and law enforcement and everything, so.
Yeah, and noted and apologies that we didn't do that earlier. Totally agree. I think some of it was waiting on, as our routes were being finalized and hoping for MnDOT approval before we did those discussions. Not again, not an excuse. We should have been on it much, much sooner. One thing to add though is that we are also sending out postcard, or it's a letter actually to everyone along the course. Every residence on the course will receive a letter just letting them know that the race will be happening. It was a process, but we had somebody go through and get all those addresses and things, and they're gonna be sent out hopefully this week. The only thing that now that we were waiting on was if we had to change the course to then do that, so.
So I think that from the city's perspective, we've been involved in bicycling as much as we can because we're applying for a lot of grants and other funding to try to connect to Houston with the bike trail out of La Crescent. And so that's what brought some of this forward a few years ago is our push for funding for the bike bridge that we have in La Crescent. And we're a member of USA Cycling as a community. And we're a bike-friendly community, and there's only a few of those in the state of Minnesota. So that helps us get some attention for this, which helps fuel some of the federal funding that we're looking for this connection to Houston. And that's one of Larry's jobs that he's working on, and that's why he's been here before, working with other people from the county and trying to pull a whole program together for that.
I know sometimes I wish they would use that brake bridge, because you still see them at the intersections all the time.
Oh, the riders
The riders,
Yeah.
yeah, they pull out,
just zipping across.
yeah. And I'm sitting there looking at the bridge and why don't you use the bridge? But different class of riders, I'm sure.
Yeah, the commuters want to go through that intersection for whatever reason, but we just are adding some more bike routes through the city that'll connect to the bridge easier. So with the intent to try to make it easier for them to use that bridge from, so there'll be a link that will go from that bridge to that intersection, and then from that intersection all the way down to the gas station on the far south end of La Crescent. It'll follow the highway, so it'll get that traffic that's going through that intersection back on our side of the road, hopefully.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
We need a motion to approve this, or do you want to just review?
It's just
Reviewing
discussion.
the permit, okay.
It's just a review. I mean, Brian has the ultimate authority to grant the permit.
Yeah, except at this point, we don't have, the truck control map isn't final yet. Bridge blessing yet, so I think it's soon to do the approval,
Yep.
general blessing of the board, but the next couple weeks or.
But you got 20 days to get something done here, so.
Make that 18.
Well, I guess this would be 18.
Actual days,
I'm
not-
thinking it's,
Weekdays. That's good.
so, yeah. Hopefully you can get something done here, so. And it's not that I don't support this, I just wish we needed to get this done sooner rather than later, and I'm okay with it if Brian and the sheriff is okay with it, so.
A lot of details, as you guys know. Next year will be so much easier,
Yes.
maybe.
Maybe. I think the word's traveled out throughout the farming community that this is gonna make it be a big deal, so they'll have to keep their eyes open.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The bike.
Yep. All right. Number 7, consider discussion regarding the storm sewer under County 18 in the city of Hoka.
Okay. Yeah, so In the city of Holka, there is a storm sewer pipe. There's goes from the intersection of Trunk Highway 44 as it goes through Holka, goes to the south on County 18. There is a section of pipe that is 264 feet long. It is 15-inch corrugated metal pipe, storm sewer. The pipe is corroded. There's some areas where there is basically no structure left on the bottom of the pipe, so there is sediment that has been getting sucked up underneath the pipe into the pipe and sucked out. So we had a sinkhole form in our roadway. I'm guessing it's pushing 2 months ago now. We have met with the city's utility supervisor out there on site, talked to him quite a bit over the last couple months. He has been communicating with the city council on the issues that they have with that pipe, and I spoke with the city mayor here a week ago on that. So the water that drains into that storm sewer comes from 3 inlets. All those inlets are within the Trunk Highway 44 intersection. So the city of Holka feels that that water that's getting to the pipe is MnDOT's responsibility because the water is primarily coming from the city right away. Very few of the buildings have any downspouts that drain into those structures. Most of the buildings drain back away from that roadway, so a lot of the water that gets into this 15-inch pipe is coming from MnDOT right away. There is no county water that gets into those 3 inlets. County 18 at that intersection slopes away from the Trunk Highway, so the water that's getting to the pipe does not get water from the county roadway into that pipe. So typically, within municipalities, the storm sewer is the responsibility of the municipality. We split the cost when a roadway gets reconstructed based on MnDOT's cost participation policy on the water that gets into that structure that's within the county right away. So there's a hydraulic assessment that gets done. In this case, it's really easy. There's no assessment that's needed because we don't have any water from the county right away getting into these inlets. So we know that the water is 100% MnDOT and city. So in a case like that, typically what's going to happen is the city will be 100% responsible for the maintenance of that culvert. And like I said, when we rebuild a roadway, sometimes the county will pick up a cost and then the city is responsible for maintenance. When we don't rebuild, the city is responsible for maintenance. In this case, the city of Holka is saying, we feel that this is MnDOT's responsibility, so MnDOT should take care of that pipe. It shouldn't be any cost from the city. We don't have equipment or resources to do it ourselves, so if anything got done, the city would have to hire it out, and again, this is MnDOT water. MnDOT, their stance and their firm on this, I've spoken with multiple people at MnDOT, is MnDOT says once it leaves their right of way, essentially they're not going to do anything with that. That is the responsibility of the local agencies to determine who's responsible, but it's not them. So if it's a storm sewer or a culvert that might leave and dump out into a ditch line slightly outside the right of way within, a state or city right of way, they might pick up an additional 20 feet of pipe to make that happen, but not 264 feet of storm sewer after a manhole structure. So the position that we're at this point is, so the city of Holka says, we're not going to pay for anything here. This is not our responsibility. We're going to hold firm on that. And from the county, we don't want to set precedents that we're going to start paying for storm sewer work that we've never historically maintained. If we do it here, then where do we draw that line when the next city says we're not going to pay for it, we're not going to do this? If it was outside of the city limits or even within the city limits, if it's a edge of town where there is a ditch, you dump that water into a ditch right away and the pipe is short. You're not running a 264-foot long culvert. You're going to have a structure and you're dumping out into a ditch within, maybe 20 feet outside the roadway. So we're trying to figure out, how we're gonna handle this, how do we wanna proceed? So at this point, I keep pushing back on the city of Holka. It's been mentioned by multiple people, well, maybe we just go out there and we just plug the storm sewer. We fill it, nothing's gonna drain into the inlets, then MnDOT might have an issue on their trunk highway. What's more than likely is gonna happen is some of it, the water is gonna not fill up in the inlet, it's gonna drain down our County 8, edge of the roadway, and it's gonna get into the city library and the parts on the edge of the roadway, and then it does become a MnDOT and city concern. So the cost that we're looking at for this is about $55,000 to line the culvert, give or take. There's a little section of pipe that we know that it'll have to be dug up and replace the pipe section. We're talking about, maybe $1,000 worth of pipe cost for that, and then, a day worth of labor, and then just patching the roadway. Other options is we can go out there and we can dig up and replace all the pipe with new pipe. A lot more costly because we're paying for all that pipe. Plus, we need to, have the labor time involved, buying a bunch of new rock. We're patching the asphalt on the roadway. A lot more expensive than just lining the culvert. A liner should ultimately get you many, many decades. The lining companies with this UV liner that we're proposing to use, they're saying this liner is designed to last 100 years. We've used it elsewhere and it really holds up nice. So it's pretty much, you do it once and we shouldn't need to go out there and touch this for many, many decades. But the issue becomes who's gonna pay for this? How does the county wanna proceed? Because ultimately, if the pipe gets left, we're gonna keep having these sinkholes form on the roadway, and that becomes a danger to the public. County needs to keep sending staff out there to fill the sinkhole. We need to, monitor it to make sure that it's not failing again. I know the city of Hoke has been monitoring it as well, so if there is an issue after a rain event, that we can get out there and patch it or get it fixed before some car drives into a hole and starts damaging suspension and stuff. So that issue is going on with the city of Holka. I put this on the agenda I wanted to inform the board today. Didn't know if there was any thoughts or feedback that the board wanted to provide. The two commissioners that I've been working with here is Commissioner Schultz and Commissioner Johnson as the board chair and the representative there from that district. So they've been filled in the loop here a little bit as we've gone through the discussions over the last few weeks. But that is going on. I would like to get this resolved ideally before winter, because next spring we want to, repave that roadway. So if we don't get this solved before we repave County 18, we might need to stop our paving project at the bridge or farther out of town, because we don't want to pave something, just have to dig it up later. So, or have a single form and new pavement. So
we put a liner in, it's 55,000?
That is, yes.
Is that a company that comes in, Brian, or is that something you guys do?
Company that comes in. Yeah, and there's different types of liners, but that's a company that we've worked with in the past has done this lining for us, and we know the quality of it. And
it says 285 feet.
264 feet.
64 feet.
And that's structure to structure. So they need to essentially what it is you put the liner is like a balloon where they blow a string line through the pipe. They need to get the pipe cleaned out the best they can. They use that string or that rope to pull their liner through. You blow it up like a balloon, and then they have this this machine that essentially has UV light that they run that through the liner as it's blown up like a balloon, comes out through the other end. They cut the pipe at the inside of the structure, and then they can get their machine out and get everything back in place. So minimal impact to the road surface, minimal impact to the roadway itself. The project or that job would be done in 1 day. It's really quick, and then they're not, essentially except for this sinkhole in the roadway, the road shouldn't be disturbed at all.
The culvert on which side of County 18? Is that on the historic city hall side, or is it on where they have the parking area?
It starts close to the middle of the roadway, and it works the way toward there's an inlet right next to where you go down into the ball field on the opposite side of the
That's where
historic
that catch
courthouse.
basin is on the right hand
Yes.
side.
Yeah, so that's,
Kind of a unique area than a normal county road access.
yeah, so that pipe, on the upper end, it's about 8 feet deep. So you dig down, by the time you get side slopes and stuff, you'd said you would tear up a lot of that roadway to do that. The area that we know the pipe is bad and needs to be dug up, that is outside the roadway. So that'll just be in the grass, I can't remember, 20 feet north of that inlet, by the ball field entrance. And then, another option is there's 3 parking stalls, I believe, on the opposite side of the historic courthouse where the library is. That's actually county property. I've talked to our county surveyor and looking at stuff. We believe that that is county property. We can dig up that parking area and essentially dump that pipe into, open grass, not far from where it failed, and maybe spend 30,000, dump that water onto the ground, but then we have more road impacts. And then the city would have to figure out how they're gonna get that water away.
So it sounds like we had a combination of some of our fault, some of Hoka's fault.
Well, I don't think we should veer from our policy of, we can't make,
We can't set precedents.
no, we can't set precedents. It's always been a shared situation, so.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of times, like if this was a full rebuild, so if the city of Hoka had water and sewer, that they had sanitary sewer in this location, they wanted to rip up the roadway and rebuild it, our cost participation from the state aid policy would probably say that we cannot use any state aid money to pay for that storm sewer, so that might still fall back on the city. A lot of times, if it's a typical roadway where you have curb and gutter on both sides with inlets, it might be 50-60% county and 50 to 40% city. So splitting the cost 50-50 in a normal scenario wouldn't be out of the ordinary. But in this case, it's a little bit unique because there isn't fully curb and gutter down there, and there is no inlets within the county part. But that's why I was trying to work with the city on, what can they afford to do? If we can put some county resources to, because we have our equipment, we have our staff on, so we can, dig up and replace some pipe and, put a little bit of money as if it's a reconstruction project instead of just a resurfacing project. But we definitely don't think we want to go to 100% county.
Would Hoka be interested in splitting it?
Nope, I was speaking with the city maintenance supervisor. He says no, he keeps going back to the city council, spoke with him a couple times. City council has said, no, we don't think this is our responsibility. We think this is primarily MnDOT's water. And then when I spoke with the mayor, he was pretty adamant as well that they don't have staff, they don't have resources, they don't have funding to pay anything toward this. So, I'm trying to find some way to work with them, but I keep getting told, no. So.
I guess there's nothing we can do.
What's the impact? You mentioned the second or the alternative area that's on county property. What's the impact of water runoff in that area? Like long-term, 10, 20 years, where would that go?
I haven't looked at it that great, to be honest. We just found out on Friday afternoon that is county property.
Okay.
So, and to dump the water on that area, which means ripping out 3 parking stalls, which is used by the people that are visiting the library. And then there's a bunch of material that needs to be hauled out. So, when I said 30,000, that's just pulling out a number roughly, and knows that there's a decent amount of staff time too, and all said and done, it might be over 55,000 to do that as well. Plus impact 3 parking stalls, plus the water drainage that somehow is going to need to get out of there through the ball field area.
So any way you do it, we're still looking at $50-some thousand
I believe that we are.
or more.
Well, I just want to reiterate, and we're not going to change precedent here, and we need to have local participation with the city and MnDOT. We're not getting either, so.
Okay. Well, I can go back to both the city and MnDOT and tell them that's, our county board says we are not paying for 100% of this cost and they need to help. Otherwise, we'll look at something more drastic such as plugging the pipe.
That's all, that's the only choice we have, I guess. I mean, getting down to it, so.
Was it conversations through the phone or correspondence?
Through the phone.
Send them official correspondence on it and what the county's policy is on it.
I can do that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Number 8. Consider accepting grant from Delta Dental in the amount of $10,000 and authorizing the signature to support the Houston County Dental Access Program. John? Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, this is good news. So,
Finally.
Great.
yeah,
Ain't been much good news.
I'm glad to bring good news too, you know, because a lot of times I'm coming
Use this
here.
grant for that road?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Use the grant for the road?
If there's teeth in there, maybe, huh? No, this is for our dental access project that you've heard about several times. I'm gonna turn it over to Jordan and her staff, who've really been very instrumental in both securing the grant as well as expanding the reach of this program. Really proud of what we're doing here. Dental access in rural areas is a big deal, and quite honestly, it's been a big deal since I can recall in my career. And we're making a difference in it, and a lot of people are paying attention to that. And you'll see that with Delta and some of the other stuff we're doing. So I'll turn it over to Jordan, and these guys can kind of highlight some of the cool stuff we're doing.
I have been working with Delta Dental since the start of this pilot program. They've taken a big step into it and assisted us. Part of it is securing funding for children's dental services to come down from the Minneapolis area 1 to 2 times a month to serve all ages of clients. And they have put in grant funding previous, and then they're just awarding us with $10,000 more to support the rest of the program throughout the rest of this year and part of early 2026. So we're excited about that, so we can continue to have children's dental services come down. Bree's got some numbers just to share with you in a little bit. In addition to children's dental services, we also are running a pilot program, and Delta Dental provides care coordination to kind of work through that, and so they're gonna continue that. We just got confirmation they're gonna work to extend that pilot for another year, which is exciting for us, so we'll go through all of 2026. Still in the beginning stages of talking about that, but that's going to be happening. Earlier this year, UCare pulled out of Delta Dental and is utilizing DentaQuest, and so I've been working closely with DentaQuest and UCare to replicate this pilot that we've been doing with local providers, and I'm in the process of kind of finalizing some of those things so that UCare patients can also be part of the pilot program, which is exciting. Still have some tweaks, and then we'll come back to you once that's kind of more finalized. But we're excited about that process too, because the pilot program also has seen high numbers in the last year and a half since we've started this pilot. So I'll turn it over to Bree.
So for children's dental services in 2024, we had 134 patients that received care. And that's non-duplicative services. And then in 2025, so far we've had 57. That's as of April. So we've had 4 additional clinics since then that we just don't have the numbers for finalized. And Delta Dental's received 298 referrals out of public health for dental services.
How long have you guys been working with Delta Dental?
We have been working with Delta Dental since mid-2024.
Oh, so it's
This pilot
Really,
started,
really new.
this pilot started when we identified there's a lack of providers. That's not a new issue. And so we brought together local providers, our health plans came, Delta Dental came to this meeting, and then some community participation, and kind of like, what can we do to solve some of these problems? And this is what we came up with, was a pilot program and then funding to bring down a provider from the cities for a mobile clinic, so,
you had 134 kids,
all ages.
all ages.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, total.
The pilot program that we're running is focusing on children, only up to 18 years of age. Children's Dental Services, although it's called Children's Dental, is seeing all ages. So 1 to, I think, 90-something was the oldest patient they've seen. So, and it's not just initial visits, it's also treatment that they're providing in our clinic space, which is very exciting because that's another referral and longer out and farther to travel to find those services for those on state health plans. So I'm happy to bring that service to Houston County.
So a big part of this is, so individuals with medical assistance have a hard time utilizing dental services, so it may be part of their benefit set, but finding somebody who will accept medical assistance requires long distance transportation to get them there. A big part of what Delta is looking at, and now what UCare and DentaQuest is looking at, is they want to see the utilization numbers for those MA clients go up. And the pilot is related to investments Delta put into improving the rate that they give to a commercial rate, and then also doing a variety of different case management things to improve or reduce the no-show rate, which they've reduced pretty significantly. We've seen a significant increase in utilization, so much that Delta would like to make this be not just a pilot, but something we can bring to scale across the state. So I think you've heard from Rich DeMarco when we've had him here. We're proud, they're calling it the Houston model. And really it was the work of Jordan and her staff and local dentists and then also those pay sources that have gotten together and worked to try and change some variables to see if we can solve the problem as opposed to just, finding a new way to pay for transportation to get somebody far from here, or, kind of working on the symptoms of the issue as opposed to what the root issue is. So we're really excited about it.
So out of that $10,000 that you get from that grant, what percentage of the program is paid for by grant versus like local tax levy dollars?
There's no levy dollars into it currently.
So if there's a need and you just run out of grant money, you just have to pick and choose? or
We
how
are
does
continuing to look for grant money. So we've had our, one of our health plans provided a round of funding for us through UCare Foundation grant. We're in the process of working through, hopefully, Medica and their foundation, and then we'll hit Blues up next.
So you get 100 and some people last year, do they just kind of categorize and prioritize how they spend it, or do you have
This is
time
for,
spending it?
no, the funds that we are receiving are for the non-billable time for them to come down. So it's the transportation type of costs that come down. Children's Dental Services bills health plans or sliding fee scales. So it depends on, but it's not billed per participant. We're not paying for that out of these grant funds. We're paying for the non-billable time for the providers to come down.
That was one of the things that was a limiting factor and is a limiting factor for places far from the Twin Cities. Children's Dental is from the Twin Cities, so they have mobile dentistry and they can bring it out, but we're far enough away that it costs a lot of money for transportation that they can't recoup. So the Delta grant pays for that transportation, but Children's Dental bills third parties. We don't cover any of the cost of care. It's just getting them down here. Another part of the issue is, we've got great dental community, but we need more. We need more dentists in our county and in other rural counties.
So
And
that's the hiccup there, is that we don't have enough local dentists
Yeah.
to take care of everybody?
right. And they're doing a great job and they've participated in this project, but that's the gap that Children's Dental is filling to be able to come out and do mobile dentistry.
There's one dentist for every 1,880 people in Houston County. That's in our chip. So dental access is one of the things that we have identified for improving, so continued work in progress.
It's like the long-term.
I think what you're doing is wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a good thing. So,
Yeah.
If you know people who want to, they're looking for a great field to get into and a great place to live, point them toward dentistry, and there's opportunities here and in other rural places throughout the state.
maybe that's what we should do.
I can drill a hole in my tooth and.
Oh, no.
I will say that this pilot and some of the work we've been doing is for those who are underinsured or not insured. It's not for the general, so there's a targeted population that we're working on for this. But still, providing dental services is important, so.
But the 1,000 people that you're referring to is total dental care.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Insured or not insured.
Insured or not insured, correct. Yep.
Well, I'll make a motion to accept the grant.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No, thank you for the information.
Job.
If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same thing. Thank you, guys.
One other thing, we were waiting on the paperwork for that. We were hoping to get it ahead of the holiday weekend. And so as soon as we get that, we'll get it to you,
Okay,
Commissioner Johnson, so we can get that signed.
all right.
Awesome, thank you.
That'll be an e-sign thing?
Yes.
I think so, yes.
I love those.
It's not a
Especially when they
spam
come
one.
and you have
Lot
never heard
easier.
anything about it, right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
If someone needs a referral, they can call the public health office and we'll send the form out to them and they send it back to us.
yep.
Thank you.
Do.
Thank you.
Number 9, consider approving the MCC Amendment 9 contract extension to provide support for Avenue Property Tax System. Carol.
All right, so as you can see, this is Amendment 9. And Avenue has actually been many different names throughout all the different amendments, but they provide our support for the property tax system where we calculate the taxes and create the tax statements. We will be transitioning to a Windows-based product because this is an AS400 product. We have not selected a product to actually move to. There was talk to move to Tyler, which is a package that they have. There have been many problems in counties that have moved to Tyler.
That's what Winona's had trouble, yeah.
So we're kind of taking a look. There's another package that's called Aumentum, which is probably more like the system that we have, but migrated to an AS400 environment. We would still use Vanguard, which our assessor's office is pretty familiar with. There is another group that's CPT, so I'm doing some research on that and what the cost might be. But in the meantime, this would give us support on our AS400 system until December of 2026, and most likely it will be extended again to cover 2027. Because even the counties that are transitioning to Tyler, there are still, it's taking them a long time to transfer a county to the new system. So it will most likely be needed through 2027 unless we decide on a different product where they can just move us more quickly.
What does this cost us now, or is this just something that we pay all the time?
We pay, yeah, all the time.
So is there 2 different billings? Is there 2 different billings? I mean, I'm reading here on, there's a $12,000 quarterly price, and then there's a $4,500.
And that's for 2026. Different for this year.
Which page you on that packet there? Find it either.
At the end of the packet.
Yeah.
So one of them is
Well,
for.
one's for Amendment 8, and the other one must be, well, no.
Amendment 9. It says 9 at the top.
I didn't see it in there either.
Just down in the recitals there, number 2.
Shall remain as stated in table 1 of Exhibit B, but I didn't see
Shall
that.
remain as stated.
Looks like it's the
12,200.
same recitals. It's interesting.
Quarterly.
That's pretty close to 50 grand a year.
How much?
50?
Oh, 50,000 a year?
Is that right, Carol? Close to
Price-
50
yeah,
grand a
price-
year.
One's for maintenance and one is for the support, or, no, that
It
is,
says the same thing.
Applicable charges to Amendment 8 is
I don't know what the difference is.
$12,277.14 quarterly price per county. That's on the page 1 of 12 of that attachment. The recitals.
The heading is the same, though, for each of them, right? Amendment 9, maintenance and support agreement. That's why it's
Has
confusing.
that went up?
I will clarify.
I know you're looking. I apologize. Asking a lot of questions. Ridiculous.
I'll look at the fee sheet they sent out for,
Yeah, I don't know why it's split.
That's similar to LATG. Maintenance costs, and, I mean, it is what it is. It's unfortunate, it keeps going up.
we don't have a choice, we kinda
Right, you're- yeah,
kinda
you're
do
kinda
this.
stuck between a rock
I was
and a
just
hard
curious about which it must be both, I don't know.
Yeah, for, looks like the same.
they can't.
No,
What's that?
no, it lists two different, it lists, like Eric
One is the
said,
tax program and
Well,
one is
they
the
do.
CAMA.
Okay,
looks like it's the same form, though.
277.14 is, per quarter is the property tax.
yep,
The other one, because it's all part of one agreement, is the CAMA portion that we don't use.
oh, so that,
You'll just be signing
the
the
top,
amendment
the
for
other
the
one,
property tax system.
okay,
CAMA, we use Vanguard
yep,
and have the CAMA through.
all right,
So is it 45 or 44?
it's 12,000,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
it's one we're gonna be
Not
signing.
that
Well, that's not
4,400
so
or
bad.
4,500 one.
No,
Right.
all right, thank you.
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Number 10, consider reviewing and approving payments. Everybody's had a chance to look at those. Any questions on the payments?
Appeared to be in order. I'd make a motion for approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, number 11 is the one that got pulled from the consent agenda. Initiate a competitive search for a 1 FTE Public Health and Human Services Department social worker.
Do you want to start or?
Yeah, so last week, it's a couple weeks ago, actually, we had notification that Carolyn Olson, retired from her position with Public Health and Human Services as a social worker. This was the request to backfill that position that's gonna be left vacant for her retirement.
Okay,
Also, I'd note that anytime we have a vacancy, we evaluate where we're at with our needs. And Some of those evaluations take a bit of time looking at, are there different ways we can configure things? Some evaluations are pretty straightforward. This, I'd say, falls more into that category. We've been looking at our home and community-based services unit for some time and thinking through, are we configured the best we can? Is there, how do our caseloads match with other counties our size? And recently, we had a lead agency review from the state of Minnesota that also kind of concurred we should be looking at caseloads and the staffing in that area. We're not ready to bring anything like that forward at this point, but it does lend credence to the fact that this opening is one that we would definitely recommend filling. Jordan, do you want to add anything to that?
What side does she work on?
She's on my public health side in the home and community-based
I'm
services.
looking at the layout here.
Under public health,
Yeah.
under the 4 nurses.
The home and community-based service unit, is she a nurse?
Nope, she's a social worker. So there should be 4 nurses and 4 social workers under home and community-based
Oh.
services.
S&W.
Yes, SW is social worker.
Okay.
So just one last thing on that is when we combined the two agencies, we felt there was a benefit to have an interdisciplinary team of nurses and social workers that work on those long-term care cases, elderly waiver, alternative care, disability waivers, things like that. So that's what this team does, is they work with folks who are receiving waivered services from the state for a variety of different reasons. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, you're good. I would just say our average caseload size is anywhere between 50 to 65, which is high, so,
50 to 65 clients per person.
per person, per staff person, yes. On our under 65 population, which is where Carolyn sits.
So with this position, as you're starting the search, would you hire this position in for an interim time with that social worker, or do they start when the former social worker leaves, or any position?
If I had a choice, I would hope that we'd get some overlap because the training is extensive and it's nice to have someone so you can learn your caseload and kind of work it through and meet some of the clients. When we do have a position down and we're waiting to cover, the additional staff pick up the caseload, and so you're gonna see that spread amongst 3 rather than 4 social workers while we wait to fill that position.
What is the state's recommendation, if there is one, state recommendation on social worker to client ratio?
For our unit, there is not a required caseload size or cap on caseloads, but when you,
What's the average?
45?
No, statewide, I mean, have you talked to other?
Statewide, I don't have an average statewide, but when I did an analysis of similar populations to ours, I would say it's 40 to 45 is their caseload,
So if we
depending
didn't-
on, but lots of counties do their case management different and their waivered services different, so it's kind of hard to give you an average.
They're structured different.
Structure is different, and so, the way one county sets it up is different from ours, and so it's hard to pinpoint an exact number on that. Some case weight, we don't do that currently, so there's analysis that we are working on, just waiting to kind of finalize some of what that looks like, but.
So they're 55 to 60, you said?
Our caseload sizes are 50 to 65.
Okay, in
Some a
that
little more, some a little less, yep.
So if the position wasn't filled, you would take 55, let's just use 55, and spread that all over 3 other people, which would put them in the 70 to 80, maybe 85 per?
Yep.
That's a lot. And she
And
was at
that's
the
not
top of the
just,
chart,
that's just the
right?
case management piece, and that's not the additional work that our case managers do. We also do intake, we do all their own initial assessments and reassessments. Our requirement is to see them, I think it's 3 times a year, 4. Most clients are seen on a monthly basis.
And she was topped out.
Carolyn's been here.
Yeah.
Her current
Yeah.
position, yes.
So that means if you're hiring somebody that they're not obviously gonna go to top. So they would start at a lower wage than what she's at.
Based on the AFSCME contract, there's a stipulation that says we can't hire new social workers above step 4.
So I mean, there is a cost savings there anyway. So. That's all I got.
I think it'll be really interesting to see your, some guidelines that it sounds like you're working on for these positions from, did you say it was from the state?
Our lead agency review.
And, okay, yeah, because it's not, we're just kind of picking on your area, but it's honestly, I look at all positions this way, and maybe at some point, if we can develop a position justification system, so we don't just say, okay, this position's vacated, we're gonna plug another one in, and we can actually look at the need, because although, social work might have a number of cases and you still need to have that person in there, there might be some other positions that could be part-time or, a different increment. So it's just, overall, I think it would be great to be able to look at that eventually. And not necessarily us, but I'm talking about the management of the department.
Yeah, and I think it's good, and John and I had a conversation Friday, we really need to start justifying positions that come open and scrutinizing them on this side and that side, just because of the situation that we've found ourselves in with staffing and the costs for staffing, and we're not definitely doing it justice if these positions come open and we don't really evaluate them and evaluate the needs, so.
It works both ways. Maybe we have 100 clients that we need to have covered, and in this position is only gonna cover 50, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So-
Brett, how long would it take to implement a staffing review on that? I guess kind of what the board kind of beating around the bush here on is we're looking at a pretty tough levy season coming up.
Yeah.
The line here. And we might have to look at county board as they've done in the past and maybe doing a hiring freeze down the line here if necessary to try and keep our numbers in check. How do we implement that, or do we hold off until on filling vacancies until we can have that process put into place?
So are you looking basically for like a justification, like a position justification process? For each one?
I don't know if that's
That's
the
what I'm
term you
talking
use,
about.
but something along that category, I
Yep.
think is what Commissioner Wright was bringing up and what the board is somewhat.
When is she officially done?
October 31st.
October 31st.
31st.
Well, we gotta look at our budget. Our levy is 15%. That's $1.5 million. We ain't gonna cut that by going through each department head, taking 10,000 here and 10,000 here and 10,000 here. We're gonna have to make some heavy cuts of people. And I don't like to do, but it's gonna have to happen if we're gonna get $1.5 million. Cause we gotta get our levy back to at least 6 or 7%. We can't go 15. That ain't gonna work. So I'm just telling you, I was on the finance committee before, and we went through every budget. If we got $50,000 to $100,000 out of all them budgets, that's peanuts when you're looking at $1 million.
Yeah, that's true.
So we gotta look at some cuts someplace, or maybe shut down half the jail. I don't know, but we gotta sit down. We got some big problems we gotta solve here. That's the only reason why I wanted to put this on hold until we get our budget back in line, and get some research done to see if we can work it in somehow. We're looking at a 15% budget, and that ain't gonna be, our levy, that's not gonna work.
And maybe it's one of those things too that, we come back with some numbers for some, for justification for it if the position's needed is, like the actual caseload, and do an actual comparative, caseload examination, just to see, just to have that in a kind of a physical form. So, we can give that information to you to make those best determinations. And also too, having one of those, like a position justification system, if an open position does come up, on that, just going through of, with the department head, so we can also bring that to the board and say, these are the whys the positions are needed, and we've looked at it at this angle, and, This position, we've looked at it in a way, could it be absorbed by other positions, yes or no type things? And so that, to make kind of these processes a little easier.
Yeah.
Make some of those decisions.
And like I mentioned, across the board, it's not this social work position, it's other positions as well.
All the
It
departments.
just happens to
Sure.
be brought before us today.
I like the idea of having kind of a consistent process across the county. We have always evaluated positions before we come here, since I've been here. I know I've said before, there's no interest in our sense to be overstaffed. And so we're always evaluating those. And as I mentioned earlier, there are some that are more extensive and some that are pretty straightforward. Look at counties our size, we're pretty high. We are looking at how we're configured there. I don't think that how we configure ourselves is going to yield a position reduction. It's just, the number of people that we're serving is the number of people that we're serving. And probably a number that, given an aging population, we'll see that, stays the same or go higher.
So you feel that we're serving more people in Houston County than, let's say, Fillmore County?
No, I'm not saying that Houston County serves more people. I'm saying we serve more per staff person because of our staffing configuration. That's what the state was essentially saying to us. We had a very positive review from the state, but they said they're concerned because our caseloads are much higher than counties of similar size.
Can you get some information from Fillmore on how many they have hired and how many clients they have, and just to compare apples to apples?
Also, their increased need, that's going to vary probably from county to county, year to year, as there might be more need and their client need increases. So therefore, your caseloads are going to increase.
Okay.
I would just say apples to apples might not, because of how they operate their home and community-based services. Their DD waiver is under a different unit. So it's just gonna be a little bit different, and I think the apples to apples you do is just population size. And I would say it's not just our caseloads too, it's when we did our lead agency review, it's the caseloads and the workload attached to it. There's different positions that other counties have so that staff can focus more on the case management piece and less on the assessment piece. So there's different ways you can kind of work that out. And our staff also do our intake process, which is something we're looking at. What does this look like if we do it a little bit different? Can that free up some of their time? So we're making some shifts internally to kind of work that through, but with the limited amount of staff that I've got currently, there's not a lot of flexibility to make some of those changes as well, I would say, with the current caseloads they have, so. But definitely can do some comparison with some counties. I've got some comparison already started, so I'll finalize that up and get it to you.
This agency review you're referring to is the one that was done a few months ago?
We just completed it in July.
Is that Precious?
No, this is a DHS lead agency review.
Okay, all right.
The state comes every 3 years and does an agency, every 3 years and does a review of your your cases and services you provide, so.
Okay.
We did not have any corrective action, which is exciting for
Oh,
ours.
that's good.
So they do good work.
All right.
All programs we do have different reviews. It seems that we're under review in almost any given time in some program. And it's like a periodic thing. It's not like they got a complaint and they got to come and review us. They are reviewed pretty consistently.
And they're supportive and they're helpful when they come do their review and give us here are some things you could also look at. So we're digging into it. We haven't gotten the final report yet. That'll come 60 days after. So we're waiting for that one. We just have a few things we're submitting to them and then they'll be getting us that report soon, I would hope. So.
Okay, so what do you want to do here? The action is for initiate a competitive search for a 1 FTE Public Health and Human Service Department social worker, a C41 banding, correct?
I think we should table it until we get a little more information. We got till October 31st before she's done.
I understand what you said about training in somebody's really important, and I agree with that. But I gotta agree with Greg. We got some tough decisions to make, and I would rather not fill a position than cut somebody else in your department. You know what I'm saying? I don't wanna cut somebody if we don't fill a position. So I think we have to look at all options at this point. That's my opinion.
I do just have a question. So what kind of reimbursement do we get for these positions? Isn't this the,
Yeah, we receive,
what kind of,
they set a rate every year for our reimbursement. I wish I knew how they set that rate, I'm not sure. I don't have that rate top of mind right now. But it's not 100% on the levy. We get reimbursement for this. And it was one of the things the state said, that it seems somewhat counterintuitive, but even having additional staff may be better because you would generate more revenue. We haven't been able to pencil that out. We're still waiting on the final report from the state of Minnesota, all of that. And so
That would work if it was 100% reimbursement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'd all be in favor then, wouldn't we?
Be a no-brainer.
Well, I'll make a motion to table it. I guess we'll get a little more information on the budget and our levy. Get some information back from John.
Motion's been made to table. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed, same sign. All right, well, stay
maybe we
tuned.
can work with Brent and come up with,
Yep.
I like the idea of a position justification.
Yep.
Because I don't want to come in front of you and say, well, I'm thinking this is, you know, if there's a criteria that each of us as department heads say, here's the checklist, and then come here and make a case. That would be helpful. Obviously, we will give more information about caseloads, revenue that we would anticipate generating with the replacement. And
Not
those
to
kinds
add
of,
more work to you, Brett, but could you maybe look at some of the surrounding counties and see if they have a policy similar to that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Pretty common to have that rather than to just, like I said, plug in, another person in a position. To review it, this is different with caseload than it is possibly with some other area, but you can find some circumstances that are gonna be the same, number of hours, somebody has to do something, reimbursement for that position. Those are all good questions to ask.
Well, I don't wanna go hiring somebody and then we gotta cut somebody right away either. I'd like to get this figured out ahead of time.
And we should look at it at all time during the year, rather than just budget time,
Yeah, well, we'll get a handle on it, then we'll keep on
Yeah.
it.
Exactly. Consistent process.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Moving on to discussion items. Administrator updates. Carol?
we met this morning to discuss the Able building and, to look into some additional information. We're going to meet again in 2 weeks. Pull together what we're thinking we need to look at prior to presenting it for discussion.
So, we just got done talking about our budget being 15%.
We ain't there
And
yet.
now we're considering purchasing a building.
Well, the purchase of the building has kind of been on everyone's minds.
Oh, I know.
For a while,
I know.
So we want to, make sure that we put together information. Can we do this?
Justify one way or the other. Not saying that it will be a purchase, but
Well, I mean, we
I don't
don't,
think that's even, we haven't even talked about that. It was just simply, is it justifiable? Because we might be facing a, whatever you wanna call it, 15, 12, I don't throw out anyone, whatever you want for a levy. But we still have to continue to be progressive and move forward to provide the services that are needed
What I got from our, yes.
and future needed.
From our discussion, we talked about the cost, of course, you know, that building or another building for space. We talked about taxpayer concerns with that. And then we also talked about the needs, because you need to consider the space needs and also the program needs moving forward now and in the future. So those are kind of the areas of discussion. And if there's any others, we haven't really gotten.
Pretty much every,
Some of it was brought out when we were actually at the building. Clinics that we can't provide now. Are there other options available in terms of the staff that we're housing? We don't have a remote work policy. That help us? So different things like that too.
well, being the mandated programs, they're gonna grow no matter what. We can't do nothing about that. We gotta just
Well,
fill in where we got to.
we're not gonna sit at 2025 for the next 5 years.
Nope.
And unfortunately, that might cost some money, but you have to look at all your options. So nothing's set in stone for anything.
Probably a mute thing right now, because we got one thing to deal with, our levy for next year.
100%.
Okay. Anything else, Carol?
Is that the other?
Budgets? We're gonna have a budget discussion at our next workshop.
Yes, we'll be setting up some of the larger departments to come actually talk and set something up with Cindy and Finance Committee for the smaller departments. I'll try to get the rest of the questions answered that I have this afternoon.
Okay, great.
Okay.
And we can meet,
Summary.
did we talked about meeting next week for finance too, or for that group
Nope.
group discussion, right? The 9th?
September 16th.
Oh, before this meeting.
Yes,
Okay,
that was 2 weeks from now.
okay.
Next week is public health.
There's a community
Public health
services
committee,
meeting
or
at 8
Community
then.
services meeting we have
Okay,
at 8. And then that would be work group. And the following one would be this committee that we just had. Then we have finance committee the week after that.
so when are we meeting? Not the
Tuesday.
16th.
Tuesday.
I'm confused, I'm trying to write it down.
No, on the
So,
board number meeting. You have your calendar up?
the 9th?
Pull your big calendar up.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
today's the 2nd.
Yep,
We have normal public health meeting, you and I.
no,
That's-
that's not next week, that's why I'm asking.
Don't we normally meet the
It's
2nd
the
and
next
4th?
week,
That you have work session.
Yeah,
okay,
So that is next week.
I'm wrong, okay,
So-
okay.
And then the
So
16th,
then-
we'll meet on the ABLE.
So this one
Yeah,
is
And then the
that.
following one will
Okay.
be finance.
Thank you,
You're
thank
welcome.
you. You wanna do the rest of my calendar now?
Negative.
The 16th is the able discussion? meeting?
Yes.
Between who?
The little committee that you assigned us to?
Get more information.
Okay.
More information
Just the
committee?
2 of you then.
Yeah.
See, he's trying to get it on his calendar too.
It's all good. Take a breath.
Just trying to figure it out. Okay. So you'll have, sheets for us to look at, budget sheets to look for by
Hopefully
this week? This afternoon, okay. You know, that's pretty thick. You're gonna,
140 pages or something.
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
okay, that's fine. Anything else? Okay. As far as myself, I don't have anything to bring up right now. Greg, what do you got?
I got really nothing. I guess I missed the zoning meeting the other night. I don't have nothing else to go see, so I'm good.
Okay. Commissioner Schultz?
Oh, we got a short personnel meeting, I guess, this afternoon after this meeting, and I've got solid waste coming up here in a week and a half, so more to come there.
Commissioner Zender?
Not a lot. October is, we got our, I believe we got the meeting up in Winona, the Region 9 meeting coming up in October,
District 9?
District 9.
Yep.
And then I got, the RAC meeting is, ECB RAC meeting is in October also, so I'll have something to report for that. When's the next safety committee?
Next Wednesday.
Gotta go.
Next Wednesday, a week from today. Okay,
Eric, where's the
Safety
District
Committee.
9 meeting at?
Winona.
Winona, what, high school or college?
I haven't seen that.
I haven't either.
Know where the location is yet.
Used to
yeah.
be at the Winona State, but for a lot of the township stuff, but I don't know about this.
I don't know if there's been a location out there yet.
Last time you guys checked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dig into that at all, Allison?
Mhm.
That way we get a little forewarning, some of them come a little.
Mitch usually sends that out.
It
Yeah, I
didn't-
haven't seen
I didn't see
anything.
anything in our emails either. It didn't say where it was gonna be, just when.
When? Mm-hmm.
27th, I believe.
October.
Is this during our fall policy conference? That's held in,
Still doesn't have a,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay.
Should be D. Should be D.
They'll let us know the Monday before.
Right?
That'd be better than an hour before.
If there's nothing else, is there any closing public comment? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.